know, because, you know, now Eddie Hall's people are saying, oh, you got to watch the other portions of the video. Like, well, I don't really want to watch, you know, this guy talk, but okay, I will. So when I watch him talk, and he says, you know, there's 3 blocked out cars in front of my house, that's very intimidating. Yeah, it's very intimidating that your wife went all the way to the driver's side. I don't know, like, how intimidating that could be with your alleged guard dog, attack dog, that according to you, you just snap your fingers and he'll like totally go into action mode. Look like a dog, like any other dog. His tail was wagging back and forth. I don't know, man. I don't really believe a lot of what you say, to tell you the truth. But what I really don't believe is the fact that, you know, your life is constantly interrupted by people wanting to take a picture with you. There's a video, I'm pretty sure it was Jay Cutler, in the height of his prime. He went to Costco in his own hometown. He walked all around the Costco. One guy recognized him and asked him for a photo. One guy. Now, Eddie Hall, I know the name, but I wouldn't know him if he stood right next to me. And there is no way in Britain, you know, I mean, if this was like Zimbabwe or something, and he was like, you know, in some small village like in Burundi or something, and he was the only person that had ever traveled out of the continent, then maybe people would be stopping traffic. But people are not stopping traffic for Eddie freaking Hall asking for a picture. Are you kidding me? He's making it seem like it's Beatlemania over there in Britain, and everybody's just like, you know, they're climbing the bushes to see Eddie Hall. You know, oh my God, it's Eddie Hall's wife. Oh my God, it's Eddie Hall's dog. I wonder if Eddie Hall petted this dog. Maybe we can get a picture of it. Come on, man, shut the front door. You know what, man? You claim that these people were blocking your doorway. They were not, because clearly we could see the gate, and they were nowhere near the gate. They were on the public road. And here's the deal. When your wife and you told them to move it along, yeah, they were going to stay longer, because who the hell are you to tell people on a public road what to do? I would have stayed longer too. Here in the United States, you had a First Amendment order to camp out in front of your house for a day. I mean, honestly, you don't have any right to tell people what to do on a public right of way. And furthermore, if it was that big of a hindrance to you and you were that intimidated, why did your wife go to the freaking car door? But come on, shut up. And then the other thing is, why didn't you call the cops? You're calling the cops now because the internet is coming undone, because you look like a roided out lunatic, and you're giving a bad sport to strongman, you're giving a bad name to strongman, a bad name to powerlifting. And you know, that's you know, it's like when the shit hits a fan, it hits everybody. So in fact, even though you're not a bodybuilder, you're a pudgy looking dude, you're going to hurt bodybuilding as well, because anytime a guy looks like he's roided out of his mind, chasing cars and threatening to like dismember them or chop their head, I don't know what you said, whatever nonsense you said, whole bunch of talk, because when you were right there on the car, you didn't smash the windows with your fist, you didn't drag him out of the car, which you shouldn't have done. But you know, what you said while you were running there like a lunatic doesn't really amount to anything, because you didn't do anything. But at the end of the day, it's a bad look. I don't care what your fanboys say. I watched your whole stupid video. Watching you talk even solidifies my point even more. Look, we've all had those times where we act the fool. Only problem is you're on video acting the fool. You're chasing people down, and there's a baby in one of the cars that happens to be filming you. So you look like an asshole. Just own it and stop that, you know, stop it. And nobody's stopping traffic for Eddie Hall. You're not John freaking Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, or Ringo Starr. You're a strongman, a retired strongman at that, who thinks he owns the street. And just one more thing. I'm actually driving right now to the office, downtown Louisville, and I've got cases, assault cases, that I'm trying to avoid trial, and I'm trying to get discovery. I'm trying to talk to prosecutors, people that have done far less than what you did, far less than what you did. There is no way in Britain that what you did is excusable. It's just not possible. It's just not possible. So again, I don't want to hear from, well, I don't care. I'll hear from your fanboys. They can make whatever arguments they want. You were 100% in the wrong. You were not intimidated. You know, and I wouldn't, you know what I mean? I wouldn't go around repeating that too much. It's totally unbelievable. You know, it's one thing if you want to lie to your audience, but I mean, you're going to lie in court. I don't know. Again, Britain taught us the way that it works for the law. So anything that happens here is going to happen there. You know, Britain is not like, you know, the caves of Kandahar or something like that. There's no way that what you did is excusable. There's no way that if a law enforcement officer had witnessed what you did, you wouldn't have been arrested and prosecuted. You're calling the cops now because you're playing the victim, like you're playing the victim on your video, pretending like you were intimidated. If you were so intimidated, your wife would never have walked up on them right to the door of their car. If you were that intimidated, you wouldn't have gone to the door of their car. If you were that intimidated, you wouldn't have run after them, threatening them to hurt them. It was serious bodily injury. You are full of crap. You are seriously full of it. So anyways, that's my rant. And just to recap, I don't think anybody is interrupting your picnics, as you said, or you're full of shit. You know what I mean? Like, poor you. And the other thing is, you're a celebrity, right? I mean, you're pretending to be one, right? Well, if you're a celebrity, that comes with it. You know what I mean? You can't be a celebrity and then, lash out at the people because they want to know you. They want to see you. They want a picture with you. You know what I mean? You're a celebrity. Well, you're really not a celebrity, but you're pretending to be one. So if you're pretending to be one, then pretend that, I don't even know what I'm saying. You're not a celebrity. Nobody knows who you are. I don't know who you are. But assuming that you were a celebrity and that you were larger than life, you can't go chasing down your fans because you're a celebrity. It comes with being a celebrity, you idiot. Well, it's the end of the day for me. It's 7:15 p.m. I'm now at my private office in J-Town, where I do all the Strength Addicts, all the Iron Magazine stuff. And I'm adding this fourth clip because I've had the whole day to think about the 3 clips that I made on my way to work today. I was in court several times today. And I even spoke to a bailiff about it, a deputy, about the whole Eddie Hall thing. There's just no way. There's just no way that what he did would be excusable in Britain. Now, if the other folks had called the cops and they would have shown up, I'm pretty confident that Eddie Hall would have been arrested. But no, Eddie Hall is the one that called the cops, and he's calling because he's making the rounds online. And, there's going to be fanboys out there that are saying, oh, Eddie Hall was just, frustrated. You would do the same if your family was at risk. His family wasn't at risk. There was no intimidation. His wife went out. If his wife could go talk to them and Eddie thinks that they were intimidating, then maybe Eddie's the one that's scared, but he also went out there and talked. He chased them down. At the end of the day, they were not blocking his driveway. They weren't blocking his gate. They were on the road. And when they were told to leave a public road, they said, no, we're going to stay. Same thing would have happened here. You can't tell people what to do on a public road or a public sidewalk. You don't have that right, Eddie Hall. And I don't know what your wife's name is. I didn't want to look it up. I don't know if it's, Shanae or whatever her name is. But the thing is, neither one of you have a right to tell people, free people, what will you do without freedom? That's what Braveheart said. And it's true. Mel Gibson in Braveheart. What will you do without freedom? Will you fight? You know what I mean? The thing is that everybody in England and Scotland and Wales and Northern Ireland are all free commoners under the king. And unless you're the king, Eddie Hall, which you're not, you can't tell people what to do on the roadways. But if it really bothered you, Eddie Hall, then you should have called the police and let them deal with it. Not you, not your wife, not your ferocious guard dog, which, by the way, does not look ferocious, Eddie Hall. In any event, I'm going to stand by the first 3 clips, and I'm going to end it with this clip. Eddie Hall, you really, honestly need to get a grip. Sorry, Eddie Hall.